Hi, and welcome to Messenger. I'm so glad you're joining us for another episode of Hope and Encouragement. Today, we're looking at the life of David and his unwavering trust in God's promises. David faced so many trials, yet through it all, he clung to the truth that God's covenant is trustworthy and his plans are good. In 2 Samuel 7, verse 28, David declares, "Sovereign Lord, you are God. Your covenant is trustworthy, and you have promised these good things to your servant." These words remind us that God is faithful, even when life feels uncertain. In this episode, we'll share inspiring stories from Canadian Adventist Messenger Magazine that demonstrates how God's promises continue to bring hope and strength to his people today. No matter what challenges you're facing, this episode will remind you that God is with you every step of the way. Let's explore David's incredible journey and be inspired to trust in God's faithfulness. Another way we can experience God's goodness is by looking around at the beauty of his creation. From the tallest mountains to the smallest flowers, the world around us reflects his love and care for us. In the Creation Corner today, we'll explore more of God's amazing creation and be reminded of how his promises are woven into every part of the world he made. Let's head over to Creation Corner.
Hello friends, welcome back to Creation Corner. I'm Clecia Felician, and today we're heading to East Africa to learn about a very rare and special monkey. Can you guess what it is? I'll give you a clue. It lives in the trees and it loves to make a lot of noise. That's true. The Kipunji monkey. These amazing creatures are some of the rarest monkeys in the world. Let's find out more. Kipunji monkeys live in the mountains of Tanzania. They love hanging out in their trees with their friends and family. But did you know that they're also one of the world's most endangered species? That means there aren't very many of them left. So people are working very hard to make sure that they don't disappear forever. But here's a fun story about the Kipunji. One day, a farmer was harvesting corn near the forest. He tied his corn stalks in bundles and left them out to dry. But guess what happened? The Kipunji monkey was sitting in a tree and let out a loud bark to call all his friends. Can you imagine that? 30 Kipunji monkeys rushed out of the trees and grabbed all the corn. They ran back to the forest with the bundles. These sneaky monkeys worked together to take the farmer's crop. I bet the farmer wasn't too happy. But you know what? The Kipunji and the farmers both have to learn how to share the land and live together. It reminds me of how sometimes we have to learn to get along with others, even when it's hard. Have you ever tried to share something with someone, like a toy or a snack? Maybe it wasn't easy, but sharing helps us live peacefully with each other. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 18, verse 19, a brother who has been insulted is harder to win back than a walled city. It means it's better to be kind and avoid arguments so we can live in harmony. If the Kipunji monkeys and the farmers can learn to get along, we can too. We can practice being kind, saying sorry when you hurt someone, and sharing what you have. That's how we share God's love to others. And remember, it's not just about being nice to friends. We can also pray for people who might be hard to get along with. Ask God to help you to be kind and thoughtful to everyone, even when it's not easy. Here's something we can do this week. Surprise someone with an act of kindness. Maybe you can help with chores, or share your snack, or just give a big smile to someone who needs it. Small acts of kindness can make a big difference. Thank you for exploring with me today on Creation Corner. And thank you, Tammy Burak, for making this segment possible. See you next time for more of God's amazing creation. Bye for now.
What an inspiring reminder of God's incredible creation and his faithfulness in every detail. As we reflect on his goodness, we're called to share his love with others, just as David proclaimed God's promises to the world. In today's Fresh Faith segment, Clarona Felician will share how we can use social media as a powerful tool to spread God's word and share his promises with others. Whether you're reaching out to a friend or sharing an encouraging post online, social media can be a platform for faith and hope. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
What inspired you to start your YouTube channel, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, I think COVID-19 was a huge wake-up call for me. I've realized that I didn't know as much about the Bible as I thought I did, and many young people did not as well. So I decided that I would take that time to study deeper and to deepen my relationship with God. And I thought, why not share those videos, share all those things that I'm learning through video so that others can learn as well with me.
You mentioned that COVID-19 served as a wake-up call for you. How did it impact your perspective on sharing the gospel and preparing for the end times?
Yeah, so I realized COVID-19, as I said, was a huge wake-up call. And I started reading Matthew 24. And I started seeing the signs of when Jesus was telling his disciples, these are the signs of my coming. There were diseases, there were wars, there was just political unrest. And it really struck a chord in me. I'm like, wow, I'm seeing these things unfold and I don't fully understand what they mean, or I didn't think I was fully prepared for Jesus' second coming. And it really made me want to study the Bible deeper, but also make sure that all my friends and family and everyone out there were prepared for Jesus' second coming as well.
Your content focuses heavily on Bible study and witnessing. What motivates you to create these types of videos?
I think my greatest motivation is just my own spiritual journey. I do have a Google Forms where I have people send in different questions that they have. And from there, I would do more research about what their question is. But it mainly just stems from my own personal journey and my own relationship with Jesus Christ.
Why did you specifically choose to cater to young adults and teenagers?
I specifically chose to cater to young adults and teenagers because I see them as the next generation. And I want them and everyone else to grow spiritually and so that we're prepared to take on that new leadership role.
You mentioned using social media as a tool for witnessing. How has it helped you connect with people in a way that traditional methods might not have?
I think social media just allows you to give that greater accessibility. You're allowed to reach people from all over the world without any barriers. And although I love traditional methods and I think they work, but sometimes, for example, when we were in that pandemic, we might not be able to gather to have Bible studies or to host evangelistic series. So social media just opens witnessing for other people at a greater level, and it gets rid of any barriers such as age or geography or anything that's confined within a wall.
Why do you believe it's important to witness to others? And what role do you see social media playing in that mission?
I think it's important to witness to others because as part of our Great Commission, God has called all of us to be disciples and to take his word throughout the whole world. And social media is just another platform where young people are at and a tool that I can use to reach them and also help prepare them for Christ's second coming.
What does Jesus mean to you personally, and how does that understanding shape the content you share with your audience?
To me, Jesus means personally to me, my personal Savior and my best friend, and his whole message of forgiveness and grace and mercy inspires me to be a better person. And this shapes my content because I want everyone to have the same experience with Jesus that I do. I want their lives to be filled with love and joy and hope and that peace that we have in knowing Jesus as our personal Savior.
Thank you, Clarona, for those valuable insights on how we can use our platforms to share God's word. It's amazing how technology can help us keep the promises of God alive in our hearts and in our conversations. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tiffany Campbell Daly from Agents of Hope, and I hope that you're doing well. I wanted to take a moment to thank you for taking your time to watch the Messenger program with Adriana Joy Lewis. Your support means so much to us, and we hope you have been inspired by the stories that have been shared so far. Be sure to catch each new episode on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Pacific Time. I also wanted to share with you how you can join this movement and become an agent of hope. Most importantly, we desire your prayers. Please remember those who are involved with Hope Channel Canada and the production of its programs, as well as the different initiatives we will have launching throughout the country, and for the hearts of people all across Canada to be open to learning that in Jesus, there is more to life. We also appreciate any time that you have to spare in order to volunteer with one of our projects. Please feel free to contact us at either agentsofhope@hopetv.ca or visit agentsofhope.ca to have your questions answered. Lastly, your financial support would be greatly appreciated, and any amount makes a huge difference in impacting Canadians. Please visit agentsofhope.ca so that you can donate online via debit, credit, Google Pay, or Apple Pay. If you prefer to donate offline, you can e-transfer us at agentsofhope@hopetv.ca or mail a check to Hope Channel Canada at the following address: Hope Channel Canada, 1148 King Street East, Oshawa, Ontario, L1H1H8. Thank you once again for joining us on this journey, this exciting journey.
Hey Pathfinders, welcome back. My name is Marlon, and today we're going to explore something really cool. We're talking about waterfalls. You know, those amazing places where water flows over a big drop, splashing and making a lot of noise. Whether it's a giant waterfall or a little one, there's so much to learn and explore. So let's dive in and find out what makes waterfalls so awesome. What is a waterfall? A waterfall is where water flows over a vertical drop or a steep slope in a river or stream. It's like nature's water slide. Some waterfalls are huge, like Niagara Falls, and some are small. Because the water falls down a steep, it can be powerful and loud, depending on how far it falls. Waterfalls are formed over time when the water from a river or stream or lake wears away the rock underneath it, creating a drop or cliff. As the water keeps falling, it carves the land deeper, and that's how waterfalls are created. Some waterfalls are only a few feet high, while others are hundreds of feet tall. It depends on how the land is shaped. Did you know that Angel Falls in Venezuela is the tallest waterfall in the world? It drops about 3,212 feet or 979 meters. That's taller than the Empire State Building in New York. On the other hand, Victoria Falls, which is on the Zambia-Zimbabwe border, is one of the widest waterfalls in the world. It looks like a giant curtain of water. Waterfalls can have a single drop or multiple drops. Some waterfalls, like Niagara Falls, have a huge drop in one spot. Others, like Multnomah Falls in Oregon, have 2 drops. There are different types of waterfalls too. For example, cataracts are huge waterfalls with lots of water. Cascade waterfalls have water that flows over rocks in a smooth way. Tired waterfalls have multiple drops and one after the other, like Shoshone Falls. Plunge waterfalls fall straight down like Yosemite Falls. Now, Here's a fun fact. Waterfalls can be used to generate hydroelectric power. When the water falls, it spins a turbine that generates electricity. The electricity that is produced is used to power homes and buildings. Another fun fact about waterfalls is that they also help animals. Some animals live in or near waterfalls. They drink from the water, and the mist from waterfalls is like a cool breeze for them during hot seasons. So waterfalls are important for nature too. Now, here's the fun part. You can earn your waterfall honor by completing any 2 activities from the following list. Ready? Here they are. Visit a waterfall and write about it. What did you see? What did you hear? How did the water look as it fell? Was it loud or quiet? Pick a waterfall you like, maybe one you want to visit someday, and learn some cool facts about it. Perhaps it's the tallest, or maybe it has a special history. Share what you learn with someone. Watch a video about a waterfall. You can find lots of cool videos online that show waterfalls in different parts of the world. There's some amazing footage out there. Make a scrapbook about waterfalls. You can include pictures, facts, and even your own drawings of waterfalls. This could be a group project with your friends or family. Create a crossword puzzle or word search with words related to waterfalls. Include words like erosion, cascading, turbine, and hydroelectric. Waterfalls are amazing, aren't they? Just like waterfalls flow continuously, God's love for us is always flowing, never stopping. Every time you see a waterfall, think about God's endless love for us. His love is like the water. It just keeps flowing and flowing no matter what happens. So, what are you waiting for? Get outside and find a waterfall near you. It doesn't have to be a big. Even a little waterfall can remind us of how powerful God's love is. If you can't find one near you, check online. There are so many waterfalls around the world to learn about. Thanks for joining me today, Pathfinders. Don't forget, waterfalls aren't just cool to look at. They remind us of the awesome power of God. Keep exploring, keep learning, and I can't wait to hear about the waterfalls you find. See you next time.
Speaking of God's promises, we're now going to hear more about how God is fulfilling his promises through ADRA Canada. In the second part of our interview with Pastor David Schwinghammer, we'll learn how ADRA is making a difference both globally and locally, bringing hope and assistance to those in need. Pastor Schwinghammer, thank you for joining us once again. Let's dive into this important conversation. Migrant agricultural workers play a vital role in Canada's economy, but often face difficult living conditions. Can you tell us about the Migrant Worker Care Backpack Project and its impact?
Yeah, great question, Adriana. Thank you. I had the privilege of seeing firsthand what ADRA is doing in the migrant journey. And some statistics say 7.7, some as high as 9.2 million migrants are on a journey right now. And so we actually flew there. ADRA has 9 protection points along that journey, right from Venezuela, starting in Colombia, all the way up through to Mexico and beyond. And so we got a chance to see what's happening there. So firsthand, we went there to see thousands traveling every day there's young children, there are families that send the young children away, send on the journey alone just for hope of a better tomorrow. And so we got a chance to see, went into Colombia, we heard stories of individuals who had been traveling, families traveling 21 days on foot with their children, getting to our protection points where we have water. We provide, for bathing, for drinking, for the necessities of life. We provide charging for their cell phones. We provide internet to connect with their families still back home. And long story short, then we flew to Honduras and we saw from Colombia to Honduras. It's called the Darien Gap. And the Darien Gap is one of the most horrific treks areas. It's up almost a mountain, a hill, a high hill they climb. And it's 5 days to get through. And some call it the largest human graveyard right now in Central America. And ADRA is there before and after to help support with the necessities of life. And why am I sharing this with you? Because I shared that story here at a recent camp meeting, Hispanic camp meeting here in Ontario. And a pastor came to me and said, Pastor Dave, there are people that just came through the Darien Gap. You want to talk to them. They hear their story. And I met with them. I had a chance to meet them, and I asked them, I said, could you please tell me your story of what it was like going through the Darien Gap? And they said, Pastor, we can't. It's just too fresh, too soon. And so we started to quickly to understand that there are migrants in our country, in our sphere of influence, that are coming through this trek, that regardless of the political understandings or all that, we are here as the humanitarian arm of God's church. And so the first thing we thought of, they're coming into our country, many don't have the necessities of life. And so we created care backpacks, and they have just necessities. Migrant workers here locally, we had meals with them. We joined with local partners, and we provided meals for them. We blessed them with these backpacks. They were so grateful. And there are families. We met families in Colombia where the husband, one particular conversation we had, the husband was a military man. And he went first through the Darien Gap all the way through. And when he would be established, either in Mexico, he was going to see how that would go, or United States, or eventually Canada, then he would send funds. This is Adriana, this is amazing. Then he would send funds back to his wife and 2 children. In the meantime, his wife and 2 children would be waiting on the beach in Colombia alone, while her husband and father are trying to make passage and get settled. I mean, this is how horrific this journey is for so many, for thousands of individuals. And so we're realizing wherever we can, our goal is to partner with others, the church, local community partners, to make a difference, to provide even the necessities of life. And as they become more and more established, furnishings, the necessities of the home, and ultimately backpacks for their kids and so forth, wherever we can step in and make a difference, because their trek it's been quite the trek they've been on.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are some of ADRA Canada's upcoming initiatives or goals for the future?
Well, as I mentioned before, ADRA Canada, we want ADRA Canada to be an active part, making an impact in the communities. And so we're wanting to do that in various stages. We realize in order for us to impact the country, there has to be a strategic element to that. That doesn't just happen. So what we're wanting to do is we are now placing regional managers, regional program managers in every conference. Our goal is to have one in every conference, so that we partner with the conference's vision to step out into the community. We're so excited that we get to partner with our conferences, because their mandate, their priorities, their vision is to impact their communities. And that's what a fantastic partnership we get to serve together. So our regional managers will in turn then be active in projects and community projects to have community engagement, to help churches to train and equip our members in other areas as well, other volunteers, so that we can have community engagement in our community. So we start with our conferences. We're working on strategy together there. Now then we're working with our churches, so to have our churches engaged in the communities. And then we're hoping that our churches will impact our communities. And the final C is that our communities will impact our country.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How can viewers support ADRA Canada's work, whether through volunteering, donations, or raising awareness?
That's a great question. So we have 5 priorities. We have food insecurity we're wanting to make a difference in. We have emergency response. We have migration that we just talked about. We have mental health that we're trying to support as well. And the last one we have is partnerships with Indigenous communities. Those are 5 areas that we're encouraging our churches to come up with projects. As they assess their communities, we'd like to help them through the assessment, and also to how do we engage? How do we, as volunteers in the local church, our goal is to have an ADRA ambassador in every church to help mobilize, to help equip, to help train, is where local partners can say and volunteers can say, you know what, I don't know what I can do, but how do I step into this mission? And so we want to engage the local churches. One way to engage is through the local church, and through in partnership with ADRA. The other one is funds. We're realizing that we have far more mission than we have funds right now. So donating to ADRA.ca, to ADRA Canada. We have our annual appeal coming up. We have our gift catalog that just came out. It's being sent out to our churches across the country. And they're incredible gifts where we're doing anything from goats. By the way, this is so exciting. I had somebody ask me once, I saw in your catalog, we can buy a goat. Does a goat actually get there? I saw with my own eyes, Adrienne. I went to a project, and sure enough, there was, we heard the story of the family, and he said, these are the goats that ADRA Canada provided. So yes.
Wow.
So someone says, I want to buy a chicken for, to help in this area. So we're actually providing means and methods. While it may not always be a goat, there are other ways that are used to support the community. But I saw the goats that ADRA provided. So the gift catalog is a great way to and partner with us. And we have more and more families saying, we live in a country of plenty. And so maybe this year, we will, instead of buying gifts here that will last a little while, maybe we can support initiatives here in Canada and internationally that'll make a difference eternally. And so I would say any partnerships financially that could happen, that goes a far way. Matter of fact, even now, we just had our Giving Tuesday, where we have opportunity for matching funds, and we can't stress the importance enough that we have access to funds if we provide matching. And so every dollar becomes 2, becomes 4, becomes 5. So that is a very significant way of partnership that we have access to right now that we can make a larger difference. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us, Pastor Schwinghammer, and sharing ADRA Canada's mission.
Thank you.
As we reflect on today's episode, we're reminded of how David trusted in God's promises through every trial he faced. Just like David, we can rely on God's promise and be confident that he will fulfill his word in our lives. If today's discussion has inspired you, consider subscribing to the Canadian Adventist Messenger Magazine. You can receive a free subscription through your local Seventh-day Adventist Church in Canada, or opt for a yearly subscription for just $20. You can also make a difference by becoming an agent of hope and supporting this ministry. Your participation helps us continue spreading God's love and message of hope. To donate, please visit agentsofhope.ca, where you can give by debit, credit, Apple Pay, or Google Pay. E-transfers are also accepted at agentsofhope@hopetv.ca. You can mail a check payable to Hope Channel Canada to the following address: Hope Channel Canada, 1148 King Street East, Oshawa, Ontario, L1H 1H8. Or give us a call at 1-855-4HOPE-TV. That is 1-855-446-7388. Thank you for being with us today. Keep spreading hope and being a messenger in your community.